Welcome to the Next Gen GTM Podcast. The go-to-market space is rapidly changing and full of hype right now. Every CRO, sales, RevOps leader is asking, how can we leverage cutting-edge tools and strategies to grow while avoiding these shiny object distractions? And with all that hype, what are the real tools and techniques that aren't just new and neat, but actively delivering tangible business results? Welcome to the Next Gen GTM Podcast. In this series, we're going to talk with experts to uncover Next Gen GTM tools and techniques that are driving measurable results for themselves and their clients. My name is Mike Bell, co-founder and CTO of Scheduler AI, and my guest today is Mike, founder of Resonate. He is an expert in CRMs and AI automations within them. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Of
Hey,
course.
Mike.
So, hey, first thing I noticed when I went out to your website is you guys are doing some really cool things with AI-powered CRM automations. And I'm super curious to know off the bat, where do you think AI first workflows are going, and where should teams be thinking about the best places to replace like kind of old school, if then this, that workflows with AI powered workflows? Or would you even frame it differently?
Yeah, I would say there are two areas or two parts of this thing that's currently going on. First of all, it's like AI-powered automation. So basically, like most of the automated processes that are in a CRM that used to be automated or or maybe like working in a semi-automatic way. Those were automated with algorithms where you just prescribe what to do, and with AI, it just expands dramatically what you can do, like cleaning your data, preparing the requests, processing customer um, requests, enriching the data, because AI changes the data enrichment market. Like we can talk about it, and there's another side, like maybe not automated, but where AI can work as an assistant or replacement of like junior employers, and I think like businesses should think about like what they do uh, daily. Let's say if you're a marketer, like what do you do every day? And let's say you spend, I don't know, 2 hours of uh, maybe like converting blog posts into social media. I mean, that's a pretty simple example, but that's the thing that AI can do very well already. But there are lots of things, lots of areas in businesses that are not covered with AI. At least we don't see it. Like for example, finance. That's a great example of like completely replacing the manual work there, the legal part, and particularly in U.S. market, by the way, uh, the legal lots of things with contracts, with the documentation, with automatically like processing the adjustments in contract, in generating some documents for the reporting, like for taxes, for like other things. Uh, and we even got like some of our customers when we sending them contracts. We see that they already used to generate like the response for our contracts, so they probably like
Oh,
prompted
wow.
what's wrong with this contract, use 3 suggestions to improve. And as a like active user of all the AI tools, I can recognize when something
When it's
is
being used.
AI
That's a really
yeah.
good point. So you're coming in, right? Because you have an agency. So you're kind of interesting, right? You have an agency and you have SaaS products that you offer, right? So Were these SaaS products that you've built, were they in response to common questions and things that you were fixing in the space, or was it kind of more of a you're looking ahead at where you think the CRM market is going? What led you to do both? Because that's a really interesting approach.
Yeah, we have basically like two SaaS products right now, and those were originated differently. First was built as like a tool that was helping us implement in HubSpot, and it is covering the gaps in the HubSpot automation. And basically, it used to be like a set of small tools that we were using during HubSpot implementation. So we packed it into a product, we developed it further and further to just follow the customer requests. But the most interesting part probably is AI, because the AI tool that we have, I, I started building it for myself, so I was did a prototype by myself without our
Hmm.
like involving our development team. And then once it started working, and I got only just one simple idea. One after I've seen like ChatGPT was released back in like 15 months ago, I think. So I wanted like same model to generate the responses to all the emails that I receive automatically. So I have a draft in my CRM, and I wanted it not inside Gmail or whatever made an app. I wanted it inside CRM. Uh, so I built a prototype by myself, and then we started thinking like, wow, that like opens lots of possibilities because you can prompt AI to process CRM data, and everyone has like lots of garbage in their CRM data. You may have like company names like I don't know Apple, INC, IBM Incorporated, etc. And probably for emails, if you generated personalized emails and you put company name, that looks like mm, not not good when you send someone like, "Hey, I've seen your like Resonate Tech INC company." Well, we don't call ourselves like with our legal name. So uh, having a clean data inside CRM, then generating things for uh, like better productivity of sales managers and customer support managers, and that's how it started. So it's not that difficult to build these things with the all the APIs of HubSpot and OpenAI. So we built it. We became product number three in a product hunt, product number three of the day. And yeah, that's how it started. And
That's awesome. And you started to mention a little bit too about how the enrichments are changing a lot of this, right? So actually calling, companies by how they would refer to themselves, or I'm sure finding even more data about people than used to be available, right? Because you used to have to just capture anything you didn't capture in your own CRM was kind of unknown to you, right? But how do you see things like HubSpot's acquisition of Clearbit, right? And the emergence of things like Clay, right? Where you can pull in all these sources. How are you seeing that paired with these AI workflows kind of change the game a bit?
yeah, actually, like we are right now developing our third app, which is data enrichment for HubSpot.
Okay.
So you have this AI-powered data enrichment in the box, and well, HubSpot acquisition of Clearbit, that's a great thing because HubSpot used to have something called company insights, where they enriched the data for you, but the quality of data was not great.
Mm.
It was like on a level of like having like pretty simple descriptions. Sometimes there were like lots of mistakes, particularly for the international markets, like for the outside US, the data quality wasn't great. With a clear bit acquisition, there might be enhancements there. And for the things with AI, let's take an example. We want to generate an automated email to a customer, and AI generates like terrible emails. If you just ask to generate a cold email to Mike,
Right.
it's gonna be like easily recognizable that's AI generated. And but if you prompt it correctly, like with lots of context, so here is information about the company. So we already have in our AI tool the web scraper and web search, so we can search for recent news. We can scrap the data from the website. Probably with Clearbit, we can add more details, like maybe recent funding rounds, or some more details about the role that a person takes in a company. And with all that information, you got much better personalized emails. And we have like one large outbound agency using our tool for the for generating emails, and they have huge prompt like for their like it take probably more than one page just to generate one opening line, but highly personalized. This way, you don't recognize it is AI generated, like, but it is a very accurate and based on like the real data from the web, and all processed with AI. So that's and AI changes how data enrichment works, because it used to be the like huge databases, like everyone, like Clearbit, ZoomInfo, Apollo, like they all have huge databases, and when you call the update about a company, you basically use information maybe 3 months ago, maybe a year ago, you don't know. And with AI web connected, you get like instant information. If yesterday someone launched a product or got a funding round, with a like web connected thing, you can get this thing instantly.
So like real time insights directly from customers in the way they would even talk
Yes.
about themselves. That
Yeah,
makes a
exactly.
huge, that's a great point. And I think another interesting point you made, right, is this you essentially said, right, the really bad AI responses tend to be short prompts and like long, terrible sentences, right? But where you described it was like you actually write a long, very intense prompt to get a very short but dense kind of personalized thing. Right? I think that's a really interesting flip the way you framed it. I was thinking about it as you go, right? A lot of people say, write a cold email to Mike, right? And it writes this awful long cold email. And what you're saying is, I'm going to tell you everything I can about Mike, reduce it to the absolute most critical details that you think will hook his attention, right? Just that would feels like it's a dart to him. And that's a total flip, I think, in the way people are thinking about this. Is that a fair way to kind of rephrase what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. And we call it like context is all you need. The uh, like you should collect lots of information and it should be in text, uh, like not really data in tables, because that's not right now very good for the current like LLMs. Um, but when you have those like pieces of text about the company, about the recent news, about Mike, about his maybe recent updates from social media, maybe summary of previous interactions with him, and also like the snippets about what your company is doing, like what you can offer to such customers, uh, who you are helping to. So your target audience description. Not many companies have this in text, and we see the best adoption of our tool is for those who have spent like quite a lot of time to preparing all those like text snippets for the prompts.
Mm. That's a really good point, right? Getting it in the format that it needs to be used in. Now, these are like I think you're highlighting some great use cases for AI, but even as an AI and CRM expert, are there places that you would still say, you know, maybe not in the near term, definitely not in the near term, but even in the longer term, you don't see AI replacing?
Yeah, I think sales, the like personal interaction during sales process. That's I think like great sales managers can be replaced with an AI. Also, for the marketing, the most creative to job should be done by human because
Mm.
at least at this point, maybe we're gonna see something different in 3 years. And I have seen a quote of Sam Altman. He told like 95% of what marketing agencies do today, it's gonna be easily replaceable with the AI probably like next year. So uh, yeah, so we live in a very interesting, like dramatic time for our business because we started as digital agency. Then we started implementing HubSpot, and then we started building tools and went to AI space.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you started creative digital, then you went to implementation, and now you've kind of started to develop SaaS products along the way. For what it's worth, I do agree with you. It's interesting at Scheduler, what we are trying to do in many ways, right, is we're just focusing on this one, kind of piece of it, very narrow. But how do you do the engagement, qualification, routing, booking, and follow-up on behalf of an AE, almost as an inbound SDR, but exactly to your point, so that when all that AE really has to focus on doing is show up to this call, focus on the other person, right? And not all the other administrator around it, because I totally agree with you. I think sales are going to be made at a human personal level. And anybody who tries to AI their way out of these types of things is going to find themselves getting smoked by someone who continues to offer, right, like a personal, um, really, really good salespeople touch point, right? So everything else, I agree with you, should kind of be automated around it. Other than, for what it's worth, I do agree with you too. I think the absolute most creative thing, the what makes me different in the marketplace, right? Bringing people in and then showing that through the sales process, people to people. Everything else around it, automation wise, right, where it can be faster, it can be more scaled, go to AI, go to automation. So
Yeah,
I'm on the same page as you for what it's worth.
yeah, that's great.
Anything else that you're kind of seeing, with there's some interesting news going on right now, right? You see HubSpot pushing really hard into AI. Dharmesh Shah, right, kind of from the beginning, he said anything you can take from point and click to describe and done, we should be doing that with AI. So they're building ChatSpot, right? But now we're also seeing maybe Google is going to buy HubSpot, right? And kind of bring in all this data. What's kind of your take on what's going on more broadly at kind of um, the big picture of, say, like HubSpot and tech and everything going on with Google? Do you have any like theories or opinions on what's happening in the space?
Oh, I I think like first of all, even if you don't use HubSpot, that's the company you should definitely should follow, and because uh, they are implementing AI much faster than some of their competitors
Mm.
that have like 50 times more AI engineers. And I seen like a comparison done by Paul Rotzer. I don't know if you know him from Marketing AI Institute. Uh, he, he he made like a chart or of number of AI engineers in employed by the companies, and the top were like Apple, Google, uh, Facebook, Meta, and then he compared CRM market, and there were like I think 100 plus at Salesforce, and only like three or five at HubSpot.
Really?
Yeah, but they got Darmesh.
And that guy's a beast.
Yeah. And what they, I think the problem of Salesforce is that sometimes you start too early and you work with like on the legacy models and you invest too much into that. And HubSpot started later on that thing. So they just took what OpenAI offers, and they just implemented OpenAI everywhere, and that's Salesforce is doing right now the same. And I'm not sure if they like somehow capitalize what they already built during the last like, few years. Probably they just replace because we see that the general models like OpenAI, like OpenAI GPT-4, Anthropic Claude 3, Google Gemini, those perform better than specialized models that were trained for the specific tasks, but on a much smaller data sets. And generic models perform better with the specific tasks than those specific models. Like I've read some studies about that. That's very interesting space. And
It's interesting. Everybody was talking for a while about like, oh, the prediction is we'll actually get lighter, more specific models, right? And that's going to be, and then you'll kind of have this almost routing model that says, oh, go to this model, go to that model, go to that model. I don't know about you, but even in my own experience, right, where we've been fine-tuning models, it is very, very hard to beat one of these foundational models if it is properly prompted, right? Properly prompted and grounded with a good set of knowledge docs and with the hardware and the sophistication they're running these at today, it is like mind-blowing. Like trying to outcompete a foundation model versus just saying, you know what, I'm going to pick the right model, I'm going to give it well-structured knowledge docs, and I'm going to prompt it well. For what it's worth, I think that's the future.
yeah, and that's a context. Like if you give it the context is all you need. That's that's the thing.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you, man. Yeah, context, which kind of brings us full circle, right, on like why it is so critical to have your CRM set up properly to be enriching it, but to also, to your point, not be statically enriching it, right? It is like we now live in a world of almost like dynamic enrichment, right? Like go to their site. What are they saying about themselves? What is, you know, different here? How much of that do you think people will, with AI type workflows, start to even just do themselves versus pay these enrichment providers? Like what kind of a balance do you strike between, all right, I just pay, Apollo or ZoomInfo or these Clay things, they're Clearbit to like bring in data versus, what I can for pennies on the dollar have GPT go and just deal with the people I care about, update it, format it to my context, right? Like where's the balance between paying a provider and just gathering the data yourself?
Yeah, you can pay the provider for the like generally available data, but you can't pay the provider for summarizing all your calls with the customer, all your emails that you wrote. That's probably where CRM can do the job, and they're kind of like uh, almost there because you got call transcripts, you got email summaries are not there, but with Auto, you can summarize the email. You can take the generated call summary and generate like the history of previous interactions in a one text field, so you can use it in your following prompts. And I think like in general, like CRM vendors gonna kind of automated. And we already seen some examples where something did not work with because there were no APIs on HubSpot side for like few things like a year ago. Also, GPT 3.5 did not work as good as GPT-4. And then suddenly, like HubSpot updates the system, then the model is updated, and it started to make sense, and it started to like deliver the results. One of the like examples, like we were working on the lead spam scoring. So when you got an inbound leads, that's for companies that have like thousands of inbound leads per month, and you got lots of spam submissions normally. Particularly when some businesses started like removing the captchas. So you remove the captcha, you got lots of bot submissions, and uh, we were trying to use GPT-3.5 for identifying the um, spam submissions, and it didn't work. And it's a pretty large prompt with instructions like how to identify. Let's say if someone submits an email like mike@reasonatehq.com, but puts his name as John, that's a spam. That's a bot generated. So email might look like a real one, but the name doesn't match the email, and only AI can identify. That's like pretty difficult to like write an algorithm for that. And we, we did proof of concept for a customer, and with 3.5 it did not work. Like on their volumes, with like analyzing thousands of leads, it generated like pretty random score. So we were trying to generate score from 1 to 10, like how spammy this lead is, and suddenly GPT-4 was released. We just updated a model name, and it started working. Like
That's
that's
wild.
yeah. And I don't know what happens when like GPT-5
We've got 4.0 right now for
comes
like the
in.
Omni, right?
Yes.
Do you see any non-text features coming into here, right? I mean, it's like Omni, you've got all the image and the things like that. But in the CRM space, other than text, do you see multimodal models holding any sort of value beyond their textual reasoning?
Yeah. After the recent OpenAI presentation, there was Microsoft also presenting their updated hardware, their Surface. And I think the most interesting thing coming there was Copilot, powered by GPT, as far as I understood, like is gonna be integrated with Windows to understand what you do on a with a, user interface. And here might be like a really huge opportunity for the AI to understand what you have on the screen. So you just open CRM, and basically like I put lots of screenshots in the chat GPT of HubSpot. It easily recognizes the system. It can give you the guidance, so it knows everything it should know, and that's how it can probably like fill the data for you, format the data in a real time, working in your machine. I'm curious to see what Apple gonna introduce in June with their developers conference. Probably something uh, similar, because those multimodal models they can just watch what you do and help you with that.
That's pretty crazy, right? Yeah. That you could be essentially just going about your day, almost having like someone really smart just standing over your shoulder taking snapshots of everything you're
Yeah,
doing with perfect memory, perfect recall, right? Like information about all your systems. It's a little trippy. It's a little trippy. But at the same time, right, does the creepiness factor get outweighed by the usefulness factor? Where do you think that line is?
uh, yeah. It sounds scary because even Microsoft like posted a note after the presentation that actually it's gonna capture everything, like your passwords, your like private data if
Yeah.
you enter something on the screen. So probably we end up having like two different computers, or like a private
Mm,
mode like you would have in a browser where you just click private and it like hides your IP address and cookies, etc. And maybe we're gonna have like private mode on a computer when we want to enter something pri private that you don't want to share with the AI model providers.
that's a really good point, right? Where all this is going. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. It would be wild, if we linked up in a year from now to be like, how much of this is true, and whatnot, or
Okay.
are we like everybody's been saying we're gonna have self-driving cars for 10, 15 years and still hasn't materialized. But the rate of progression happening in the space is so much faster. So, Mike, it was awesome having you on today. Really enjoyed this episode. I think what you guys are doing to bring AI first thinking into things like legacy workflows is phenomenal. And I'm just really excited to see what you continue to put out as you serve your customers and as you kind of just think ahead. So thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And
But I am curious this my own learning. When you are putting together your apps for the marketplace, because we have private ones right now, right? So people can link it in, they can use Scheduler with their workflows. Any advice that you would give on publishing to the marketplace, promoting within the marketplace? You've done it a few times, so just be curious to get any learnings from
yeah,
you.
do it as early as possible, but
Okay.
don't wait.
Okay.
Uh, then update it regularly. Uh, HubSpot has uh, a form for notification. So after you update and your update is published on the marketplace, you can fill a form that you release something new. So they might feature your app into the like recently updated or
Oh, interesting. So there is like a
category.
recently updated like category in the marketplace.
Yes, yeah. Also reach out to Kyle Jepson. Do you know him?
No.
That's the probably like main speaker from HubSpot for all their like social media videos.
Oh, okay.
So he posting all the updates, like any update, small, big, like you're gonna see Kyle, like very funny guy.
Kyle who?
Kyle Jepson,
Kyle
J
Jepson. Ah, okay,
E.
here he is.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you usually reach
So
out to him when it's time to?
I just I don't remember where we started. Just tell him like we recently like released an app. It is available. It should be available on the HubSpot app marketplace. Like, is there any chance uh, you feature it in one of your videos? And he used to have like weekly integration videos where he features one or two apps that are integrated with HubSpot that are on HubSpot app marketplace. And he shoots his own videos. So for our apps, like we just gave him free accounts and he did his own demo. And
Perfect. Is there a good email? I just connected with him on LinkedIn. Is that where you touch base with him, or is there a better email for him? Do you know?
I have his email, but LinkedIn is the best because
Cool.
we chat with
Because
him
that's where he's posting. Great.
in
Okay,
LinkedIn.
awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for the tip off. That's what. So release early, re-release often,
Yeah.
reach out to Kyle. Those are
Yeah.
the tips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, man. Anything I can do for you? Any way I can be helpful?
Uh, well, if with the podcast you can share the like link to our app to the
Oh
AI
yeah.
studio.
Okay. Oh
That's
yeah. In the post, say you should totally check out. Yep, we'll do that. Okay.
yeah, that would be helpful. Yeah, and just thanks for inviting me. That's
Yeah, of course. Who do your best clients tend to be, by the way? I'm always curious to know because we talk to a lot of agency owners and operators, and a lot of them have different kind of ICPs. Who are your favorite people to work with?
That's that's pretty weird because for many years, like we are HubSpot partner for 7 years, and HubSpot was pushing us on every training, on every HubSpot like new manager working with us, pushing us. You should pick a segment to work with,
Hmm.
and as a HubSpot partner, like I'm sometimes I have a call with a gun store in Chicago, and after that, like with Global Greenpeace. So that's that's our customer base. And once I got a conversation with Dan Tyre, that's like employee number 4 at HubSpot. He told me that maybe you're right, like your target audience are the HubSpot users. It's still like it might be a vertical like this. So as a digital marketing agency, we were working with tech companies like SaaS software, like enterprise software. Probably our best customers are software vendors that are selling to enterprises. But as a HubSpot partner, we have so diversified customer base. Then I don't want to pick a vertical because
So anybody thinking about HubSpot implementation is kind of they're up for grabs.
well for implementation we see if it matches for the requirements
Mm.
because we don't go into the like businesses we don't understand. For example, for retail, like for anything B2C, we try and like to escape that
Okay, so more B2B.
for the implementation. But we have our apps. So for if you are a HubSpot user, we have definitely something to offer you. We have HubSpot Team for the websites. We have 2 of our apps. Third one is coming soon. We have our services. We also offer development services for HubSpot, so uh, it's also like not really about the vertical, but about the tech stack that you use.
Very cool. All right, awesome. Well, hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate the time. I think this is going to be it's going to be fascinating to watch it play out. I'll